Welcome. In this very brief video, we're going to do some yoga that helps you to feel energized, awake, and alive. And it's a great time to do it in the morning or really at any time during the day when you feel like you need just a little bit of a pick-me-up. We'll do some forward bending that will help you to get a little flush in your cheeks, and some twisting that gets you to breathe more fully into your lungs, waking up, feeling more fresh. And then some standing poses that energize your legs and give you a sense of groundedness and stability. So as we go along, we're going to give you variations. Emily, my assistant, will do ones that are more simple for those of you who are newer to yoga and maybe the first time you do the practice. After that, you can go along and do some of the deeper variations that'll take you into some more fun poses. So enjoy yourself. So our first pose is just a long, tall stretch. Lift your arms up high as you breathe in and take your right hand to your left wrist. And as you inhale, lift all the way up through the left side and come over. As you inhale, come back up to the center, change the hands and go over to the other side. Getting your breath nice and full. And then inhale, come back up. And as you exhale, you're going to touch down to the floor for a wide-legged forward bend. Step your feet as wide apart as you comfortably can. Take a breath in. Make your legs very strong. Hug them to the center. Send your sitting bones down and bow forward. Take a deep breath in. And extend your arms out in front of you. And we'll take the hands over to the left side to begin with. And Emily's just going to draw her hip back and lengthen all the way out through the side of the body as though she could just breathe right into this lung. The neck is nice and long and the breath is really free. Inhale, come back to the center. And as you exhale, keep your hips steadily hugging to the middle and come over to the other side. Long breath right into the back of the lung. Inhale back to the center. And then walk your hands back, place your hands on your hips, and inhale, come all the way up. Strong legs, lengthen down through the tailbone. Good. Okay, so the next pose, you're going to step forward towards the short edge of your mat. And we're going to come into a invisible chair pose. Okay, so bend your knees. And we're going to, for this variation, we'll have the feet separate. Right, so each leg is steady and strong. Her feet firmly planted on the floor. Emily's going to lift her arms up, lift your arms up. And then you're going to lengthen down through your tailbone so that the low belly rises up. So there's a fiery quality to this. There's a deep steadiness in the legs. And then you lift up through every fingertip. Keep breathing here as you anchor down through your sitting bones. And then as you exhale, bow and fold forward. And then once more, lift your chest. Sit down into the invisible chair and lift tall. 3 breaths here. And if you can smile while you're doing this pose, it makes it more advanced. And as you inhale, come up to stand. Okay. Next pose is a thigh stretch. So you're going to take your left foot back into your left hand. So it's a bit of a trick to get the balance here. Keep all 4 corners of that standing foot firmly rooted into the floor. Now the next trick here is to keep the front knee and the standing knee even and lengthen the tailbone down. You're going to feel your low belly rise. And if you feel steady there, lift your right arm high. Long stretch from your belly, press down through the legs and lift up through the arms. And then as you exhale, you're going to release the arms, release the foot, and we'll do the second side. Take a few breaths here. Press down through the standing leg, lengthen your tailbone down and stretch the other arm up. Good. And you can always do this with one hand at the wall if you're having difficulty balancing. Sometimes first thing in the morning it's a little bit tricky. Exhale, release the hand. Release the foot, and as you inhale, lift your arms up high to the sky. We're going to come into a breath synchronized movement. Exhale, bow, touch down to the earth. Good. Inhale, lift your chest forward and lengthen. So her feet are sitting bone distance wide apart. And now when you step your right foot back, good. We'll do a hamstring stretch here, which just really gets the legs awakened. Stretch your left leg straight. And you're going to send both hips back towards the back of your mat. And one variation that you can do here is if the floor seems really far away, you can put blocks right underneath your hands. Breathe in deeply. And this back hip moves back. And if it's available to you, you can actually bring your head down and your chest down towards your front leg. Okay. And then for the next pose, walk the back foot back. I'm going to take the blocks away. And place your back knee down on the floor. Hands to the front thigh and come up. So you'll get a stretch in the back thigh. Breath in. We're going to come into some twisting here. Right hand goes down to the floor. For the first variation, you're going to lift your left arm high and open. And you'll get a deep breath as you send your hips back, lengthen all the way up through the lungs, the throat moves back. And you don't have to twist your head here, just keep it in line with your shoulders. And then for the next variation, you're going to take the hand down to the thigh, lift the back leg up, steady and strong. And then to make it an even bigger challenge, you can take your right elbow across to the outside of the left knee, place your hands in prayer position, get steady through the legs, press down, and lift up with your breath. Good, and then to come down, exhale, touch to the floor, and step back into downward facing dog. So it's an inverted V pose. And one of the key things in this pose is that you keep all of your finger pads firmly anchored to the floor and stretch your hips way back so all of your weight isn't going into your hands. Long breath here, and then as you exhale, walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. As you inhale, lift your arms up high to the sky, come up, full breath. Exhale, hands to the heart, and we'll do the second side. As you inhale, lift your arms high. As you exhale, bow, touch down to the floor. Inhale and elongate. As you exhale, step your left foot back, straight front leg, and square your hips to the center. Good, take a deep breath in. This is where you can use your blocks underneath your hands if you need a little bit more height. Take a breath in, squeeze the right hip back strongly, and make space in between the hips and the armpits. Good. Now for the next pose, bend your back knee down to the floor. Good. Take your hands to your front thigh and square the hips steady to the front of your mat. Good. That'll stretch your back thigh. As you exhale, touch down to the floor. So the first is an open twist now. As you inhale, lift your right arm high. And the more you send your hips back, the more space you get in your torso, and you can breathe right into the rib cage and expand your lungs. Now for the next variation, we're going to take the right hand to the thigh, lift up the back leg really strong, charge it up, press the back foot down. And then the final variation is to take the bottom elbow underneath, peg it to the outside of that standing knee, breathe in deeply, send your hips back again, and with your hands right at the center of your chest, just draw them in towards the breastbone to open the shoulders. Deep breath in, throat nice and open, and as you exhale, touch down to the floor. Inhale, step back into downward facing dog, stretch out, make some space. And then as you exhale, step your feet forward in between your hands. And as you inhale, reach your arms up once again, high to the sky, with lots of space, big full breath, and then exhale, end with your hands at your heart. Good. Next pose is tree pose. So with your feet as wide as your sitting bones, you'll plant all four corners of the feet strongly down into the earth. Think of car tires. You need to have them balanced in order for the car to run optimally. So the right knee comes up towards the chest, and you're going to take the foot to the upper inner thigh. That's the standard variation. Now there are some other variations that Emily's going to show you here. One is with the toe on the floor, and the second is with the foot pressed into the calf. Take a breath in. We're going to come back to the standard variation. Take the foot to the upper inner thigh and square your hips towards the front. So both legs are going to press strongly to the midline. Think of a tree and how it has concentric rings that hug into a central alive center. As you inhale, like a tree that lifts its branches up towards the sky, stretch up. If you feel steady here, you can even do a little variation that has you moving to one side to stretch the torso. And then inhale, come up, and exhale, release your hands. Good, come all the way down, and then change legs. So really feel steady and rooted in your bottom foot, and hug the legs towards the center. You can use your hand to adjust the foot to the upper inner thigh. Hands press, feet press to the center, both hips hug into the center, as though you're hugging into a steady core, and then as you inhale, lift your arms up. Good. Take a breath in, and then you can stretch over to the other side. The key action is that you're going to be pressing down from the center and then stretching up. Inhale, come back up to the center. Exhale, release the hands back down, release the foot. Nice. Good. For our next pose, we're going to take a wide stance, and you're going to step your right foot out to the side. Turn your right foot out, and bend the knee. What's key here is that you have some weight in your back foot, and your knee here goes right over the second toe. Take the right elbow towards the thigh. Left hand goes to your hip. Breath in. Good. So this side angle pose is really good for opening the hips and giving you a sense of steadiness. Now, you've got your hand on your hip here. The next variation is to take the arm all the way up and over with the bottom hand moving down. That takes you a little bit deeper into the pose. So the key actions here, you feel your back foot pressing down, squeeze up through the legs and press long. So you have that dual action of steadiness and freedom. Inhale, come up. And then we're going to change the sides. Turn the back foot in and change. Elbow to the thigh. First variation is just here. When you have the hand to your hip, you feel your feet more steadily on the floor. Take a breath in. And stretch the top arm over with the bottom arm coming down. Good. It's helpful here to anchor from the sitting bones and the tailbone down through your back foot, and that gives you more space to expand. Now this variation with the eyes looking upward is fine if you've got no problems with your neck. Otherwise, if you feel a little tension in your neck, you can always just look straight forward and bring your skull back in line with the backs of your shoulders. Press down through the legs. As you inhale, come all the way up. Good. Square your feet towards the front. And come to the first side again. We're going to come into triangle pose and then a little bit of a variation that will take you into a balance. Keep your right leg straight. And then take your right hand all the way down towards the right ankle. Left hand goes to the hip. Good. From the belly, press long through the legs. And this is important. Send your tailbone down. That kind of anchors you down into the floor. And then lengthen all the way up. Stretch your top arm high. This is the first variation. And the second variation, you'll take your top arm all the way over your ear to feel a little bit more length. Press down through the back leg. Okay, the next variation, we're going to take the hand back down to the hip, bend your front knee, widen your hand to the side, and step up into what's called the Halfmoon Pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So look at how active the back foot needs to be. The legs hug strong, the tailbone lengthens down, and when you feel steady there, you can even lift your top arm high. Good, and then as you exhale, you touch down to the floor. Back foot comes back, and then step back into downward facing dog. And it's nice to take this right foot all the way up and back into a split, keeping the hips steady, hugging to the center. So this front hip, this bottom leg is just going to move back. Okay, take a breath in and lower your foot down. Okay, walk your feet forward to your hands. And as you inhale, come up to stand. And exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, so we're going to step out once again. Left foot steps out. Triangle pose to the second side. Touch down to the floor. And then from here, pressing long into the back foot, send the tailbone down so that the belly rises and you lengthen. Reach the top arm up. Take a few breaths here. And then to come into the Halfmoon Pose, bend your front knee. Walk your bottom hand forward and stand strongly into that front leg. Lift up the back leg. Back foot very active. Wrap the bottom hip down. This is really important to keep your hamstrings protected. Wrap the bottom hip down towards your tailbone. Press long through the legs and stretch your top arm high. Good, and then as you exhale, place your back foot down. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. And step the left foot all the way up. Good, breathe in. Send your hips back. And then drop the left foot down. Okay. As you exhale, you come down to your knees, and you've earned a little bit of a rest. Come into child's pose. So this will stretch out the low back, stretch out the muscles in your spine, and give you a chance to breathe and relax and release the body. And then inhale, come up to sit. So we'll take a few moments here. And for a relaxing breath, we'll take a 2-count inhalation and a 4-count exhalation. That brings the body into a state of relaxed, alert presence. So as you inhale, count to 2, pause, and then exhale for a count of 4. Eyes closed. Turn your attention inward. Now you may continue like this, or feel free to lie down in Shavasana, the final relaxation pose. When you come into relaxation, you can take your feet as wide apart as your hips, turn your palms to face up, and let your body release and drop down into the floor. We'll be here for just about 1 minute. If you're lying down, reach your arms up over your head. Roll to one side. And slowly come up to seated. With your hands at the center of your chest, you can bow your head. And then slowly lift the chin, open the eyes, and release the hands. Energized, revitalized, feeling steady, calm, and alert. Enjoy your day.